welcome back to the Netherkast. I am Cyborg, and I am joined, as always, by Temp, Razor, and Shad, and this is episode 109, and we have some stuff to cover here. We have some stress test thoughts, and we have some combat test thoughts based on Kotal and Jacqui Briggs. So we're going to hit this one fast, we're going to hit it hard, and we're going to be out of here in about 30 minutes. But don't you fret, because we will have another episode very soon where we cover all the stuff that is revealed at C2E2. So, on that note, let's jump into it. Temp, what are your thoughts on the stress test?
I was pretty happy with it. I mean, a lot of things I knew were going to be good were awesome. A couple of things I thought were going to be good are too good. I won't leave everyone in suspense. I think Flawless Block probably needs adjustments, but I overall am very happy with the game. I think it's very good.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun as well, and I mean, I wanted to see them. I mean, I really, really, really like the movement, and I'm a little bit worried about the dash improvements, or I mean, I shouldn't say improvement, but increase on the dash. Sub-Zero basically went full screen in 3 dashes when they showed it on the combat cast. And they said it's character specific, or at least that's what on the Discord, that's what people were saying, is that it's based on the characters, so they're balancing it per character. So you might have some characters that have smaller dashes, some that are longer, so on and so forth. But yeah, I just don't want it to become too quick, like too easy to move around and get in. Otherwise, then you get into rush down focus, kind of like MKX. So a fine balance, I'm sure. And I know that's making a lot of people happy, like Max and stuff, that were wanting it to be quicker. But I really like the movement in the stress test, and I don't want to deviate too far from that.
It's very ambiguous what they did, too. For one thing you just mentioned is that it's character to character, which is good. That's the way it should be. But it's not clear where the cancel frames are. So if I do a dash, when can I punch? Do I have to come out fully out of recovery now? Because I'm going further? The dash recovers faster, but I presume that means I can also cancel the end of my dash faster too. I don't know. It's going to have a big impact on offense depending on which route they take.
Well, Cyborg, you played both the stress test and the original reveal. So
Correct.
Was the dashing the same in that?
I didn't really use the dash a whole lot just because I thought walking was sufficient enough. So
yeah, I mean, my whole problem with the dash in the reveal build we played was that it basically had no reason to be there. It did nothing. It would have been better removed.
Yeah, I think
it
was
about
the same.
Improving it, then it's actually worth doing.
Yeah, it was basically slower than walking.
It was about the same in the stress.
It wasn't just slower than walking. You didn't actually travel any distance. You were pretty much standing in the same place. It literally did nothing. You double-tapped a button, and you just kind of jerked.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really need to be there based on its speed. So I understand improving it. I just don't want to... I don't know. I just don't want it to be too crazy. Like I said, Sub-Zero, at least in what they showed us, the very brief snippet on the combat cast, I was watching very closely, took 3 dashes, and he went full screen. So, I mean, that is really quick. So
He has a mix-up character, too, on top of that.
So, yeah, I'm just a little worried that it's going to be like... Because my favorite thing so far about Mortal Kombat 11's gameplay is that it's methodical in the sense that it's slow in certain aspects, but it's fast in certain aspects. Like, it has a nice balance between the two. It's not always, balls to the wall going crazy. Sometimes you're playing mind games with each other and you're really like feeling out the spacing. And there's times where you even walk back and then full punish. And that's awesome. That's a great feeling when your opponent whiffs a punch or whiffs an attack, normal, and you walk back just fast enough so that you outpace them, and then you come in with attacks to punish. I thought that was a really unique and fresh feel for a Mortal Kombat game that we haven't gotten in a long time, especially now with MKX, and even MK9 was faster with the dashes and whatnot, so I kind of like that this one was almost more like MK2, but modernized. So I just don't want to get too far away from that fresh feel. If you make the dashes too quick, it's almost going to feel like MK9 again. And that's not that MK9 was bad, it's just, like I said, I like that this felt so unique.
Well, I don't really have, I don't care which side it comes down on. I'm just saying, don't have something in the game that's useless.
Sure, absolutely.
Either buff it or remove it, shit or get off the pot.
Right, yeah, no, I agree with that.
It's still not running either. This is not going to be absolutely insane. And again, they've said that that the dash modifications are going to be applied to select characters. So it's not everyone. It's people that they probably could see that the dash was useless for.
I mean, the ideal build for a fighting game is you have a guy who's the rushdown guy, you have a guy who's the grappling guy, you have a guy who's the Shoto clone or whatever, like Killer Instinct did.
Yeah, Glacius did not even have a dash in the early versions.
Hold on, give me a
Or the
sec.
later
You guys
versions,
all
he didn't
sound
get a dash
kind of
to this.
robotic to me. Give me 1 second.
Beep.
Let's try this again. All right, continue.
Yeah, the dash wasn't even available for Glacius until, I think, Season 3 of Killer Instinct. He could not dash. Which I'm glad they finally gave it back to him, just consistency's
Like, I don't know that Sub-Zero should be a rushdown guy, but, like, for a Johnny Cage or a Liu Kang, I think they should probably have a really good dash. Because that's kind of how they fight.
I kind of really want Sub-Zero to be more of a rushdown guy because I kind of feel like he's morphed into like a really boring turtle character over the course of like the longest time, and I used to be able to be much more offensive with him, I think, back in the old days. So
yeah, I mean that's just where we are
this is
now.
better.
We're never gonna have Deadly Alliance and Deception Sub-Zero again. He's always gonna be like the heavy guy with the weird mix-ups.
there was Crowdmancer. Crowdmancer was pretty agile.
I like being offensive with Sub, and I have to sit back and.
Well, Crowdmancer had some real up-close setups. I mean, he basically had a good mid-check with forward 1-2, and he can cancel that into a grapple. So he basically has a guessing game as long as he uses his best string. It wasn't the fastest string, but and he had the mix-ups on top of that. I think Sub-Zero was okay.
I feel like to be effective as the rushdown guy, you need simpler strings than how Sub-Zero's
sure.
buttons are all over the fucking controller.
You also need frames as well. He didn't really have. He was negative on everything, even if he was safe. But my thing with the dash when I was playing the game, because I was all for buffing the dash to an extent, but it wasn't because I want better mobility. I liked the walking meta. Better dash is because if the opponent screwed up, sometimes I just couldn't get there in time. I couldn't walk fast enough. And they slowed down the jumps to an extent too. So it's like I could dash and jump in, and then I would get a block string at best, if even that. So I didn't want to make footsies different. I wanted to make punishing different. That's why I wanted to boost the range. I didn't necessarily want to boost the recovery, but they did it anyway. They kind of did the reverse of what I was hoping they would do. I was hoping you get more distance with the same recovery. And what they did is they gave you a little more distance, but significantly less recovery from what it seems to me. So we'll see. I'm not necessarily against it, but...
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying about the dashing and the punishing and all that stuff. So I guess we'll just have to see how it plays. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait till the launch game because it's not going to be in the beta. So that's going to be a little bit weird, but Sub's not in the beta anyways, so I guess that doesn't matter. Well, let's move on then to the Combat Cast stuff, and then we can circle back to anything else we want to talk about stress test-wise. So how's everybody feeling about Kotal Kahn? I love that he turns into a giant cat, or jaguar, or panther, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, the animality.
Smooth.
I'm just gonna call it the animality.
Yeah.
Don't do that, man. That was a long time ago. We've evolved. We're better
Look,
than
that is the official Mortal Kombat term for turning into an animal.
Trying to forget that this stuff existed.
Let's just hope it means animalities are coming.
I think it's cool was what I was trying to say. I do have this one little problem with it where the panther doesn't change color to match your shader. So like if you're playing like Kotal with white stripes, the panther stripes are yellow.
Bum 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 bum.
Right.
Bum,
Dun,
bum,
dun,
bum,
dun,
bum,
dun,
bum,
dun,
bum,
dun,
bum.
dun.
So
Are you okay?
Seven Nation Army. Okay, what were we saying? Sorry,
but
I'm gonna get
anyway,
flagged
he
'cause
looks
that was
cool.
perfect.
You know, I
White
liked
stripes.
Kotal before, and his main moveset, you know, he comes with the paddle by default, which is what I would ask for. So we got that. I'm surprised that instead of scrapping the totems, they did even more stuff with them. But I guess you got to fill out those gear slots with something.
I like it. They're kind of doubling down on how he plays and making him more unique in that regard. So I prefer that over having to choose between this totem, this totem, this. Like now you can just stack them. I think that's a pretty cool dynamic.
Yeah, I think that he might have come across as a little bit too involved for some people last time. So like now it's just do whatever you want with them, but they're still maintaining that like support buffer role of his. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I was prepared to say that I'm mad the Sun Disk is back, but the EX or amplified version where he like uses as like Link's mirror shield to like shoot sunbeams at you is actually a way better idea than the base version. So I'm okay with it now.
Like the blinding using the sun's rays and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, he's fucking huge. Huge.
How about that Conan outfit, huh?
He's wearing a bear's head. So tiny.
I don't know about the bear's head because it seems a little bit cliche, but that aside, I'm really digging the glowing, like the glowing tattoos, body paint all over him, and I'm rather liking the new design of the paddle, or this particular paddle gear piece that they showed us.
I'm still gonna look for the redwood one and equip it.
I will too, but this is nice. It's kind of Buster Swordy, just a little. Wouldn't be my go-to, but
that
it's
would
a nice
be
piece
cool
of...
on some characters. It's not primitive enough for Kotal to me. I don't know.
I think it's a nice piece of gear. We'll see.
I'm digging him. And he's got his that fatality was pretty tight. I dug that a lot, where he just fucking breaks their neck on the little sacrifice thing, and then their spine and head come out to the middle, and then just get smashed by giant Legends of the Hidden Temple thing.
Are there any decapitations in this game where the spine doesn't come with?
I don't know.
I haven't seen any yet.
Johnny's technically.
It's a lot of
So,
spine.
yeah. Also, it
spine.
really bothers me that entire totem statue thing falls on their head, and yet the eyeball still finds a way to slip out forward at the screen.
I didn't even notice it, but that's funny. I believe you.
The eyeballs are everywhere.
Yeah, I noticed the eyeballs. They're there. I do think the fatalities may be reusing assets a bit much. In terms of the gore check.
Just a tad.
Temp, thoughts on Kotal Kahn?
I think it looks good. I like the buff system better this time around.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, I think it looks better. I feel like, to be honest with you, it hasn't changed a whole lot. It's very similar to the way it was in MKX.
Yeah.
I think it fits better in this game because you have that time and that space allotment to make something like that work better. I feel like we saw a lot more of the corner in MKX. I also like that they took out some of the dumb shit about Kotal Kahn that I never liked. Like, Forward 2 is an ability now. That's awesome. I laughed so hard when I saw that. Forward 2 is so dumb in MKX. He looks good. He physically, the modeling looks really good on the character. Fatal Blow was okay.
Got Phil Lamar back. Yeah.
Yeah, and he sounds good too. I mean, he's always sounded good, but I don't understand the utility behind the cat transformations. I love the idea, but it's like, okay, why would I turn into a cat? Was that a neutral tool? Do I use it for punishing? I don't seem to get a combo opportunity.
He has one of the cat moves is a dive kick, kinda.
Yeah, well, I don't like. Honestly, they've given that to so many characters. I've never liked the jump special fake out, where I have to guess whether I need to anti-air you or if I have to block your air special. I feel like so many characters have that, so that makes sense. But I'm not a fan of it. But I just, is it a whiff punisher? I just don't know why I would turn into a cat. I'm not
it's
sure.
Cool, and you can make meowing noises.
I wouldn't want to meow. Like
it's like you said. It's like you said a little while ago, Temp. What's up? Also on a cat.
Yeah, it's yeah. No, and I'm a fan. I want to use it, but I don't want to lose either. That's the thing. I want to make that compromise. I don't want to like fucking get flawless victories and then at the end being like, at least I was a cat. Like I don't know.
Are you worried it's gonna be like flag tier?
I never mess around with flag. I heard things about flag, but yes, I was. Flag did not sound promising from the reports I got.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't plan on playing Kotal at all, but if I did, I'd probably want the cat stuff just because I thought that was very unique and cool. And I guess it was in his MKX concept art, so they had that idea before for the character, and now they're just getting around to trying it out, obviously, this time around. And I love that aspect, and I hope this is a door opening for Nightwolf, or basically turning into a werewolf of some sort during his specials or combos. I think that would be really cool.
Would be very nice.
So I would be on board with that. I would definitely try out Nightwolf or even main him if that were the case, where you can just turn into either a wolf or a werewolf of some sort. I think that would be visually very, very awesome. In Bloody Roar, I used to play the character, I think it was the main character that could turn into a wolf. That was his, yeah, that was his animal that he turned into. I switched between him and the dude that turns into a lion, so I'd be all on for that. So I'm hoping that's what this is leading into. But I like the idea.
There's some shades of Bjorken in there, so for those of us who have history with Killer Instinct, that's a nice little touch.
Right. Well, let's roll into...
I do see Temp's point, though, about, like, it seeming like a weird thing to give him, like, a full-screen dash when he's so traditionally up close and personal, apart from some projectiles, you know?
I find
he can do a little bit of everything.
Why Panther? Because his helmet is like a bird, and he has those sickles that are snakes. Is he ever going to pick one animal and stick to it, or is he just trying to be all the Mayan things at once?
I think it is multiple. Well, I think that's the Aztec gimmick, is that they're changelings, and which is good because they need to give them something.
I thought the Aztec gimmick was that they're Superman.
Are they? Well, I didn't know that.
They get power in the sun, yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
I don't think they can all turn into Panthers. I think that might be Kotal. And I don't know if it's because he is a wizard or because they made up this new backstory for him where he spent MK3 trapped in the flesh pits being experimented on.
Pretty
that could be
sure the sun thing's just Kotal. I think the rest of the Aztec were
normal. No, the whole Aztec definitely have the sun thing because Rain used the clouds to kill them.
Right.
Either way.
I just realized the panther, garb, like, if that is why he can turn into a panther is because of the flesh pits, I can just imagine Shang Tsung turning into it like a panther, and Shang Tsung's like, finally it worked. And behind Shang Tsung is these piles of panthers, like, oh my god.
All right, well, let's move on to Jacqui. So
he would.
Jacqui, she's got some, she's got an exosuit basically to her, and she's got robo legs, not full on robo legs like I had suggested. She basically just has, exoskeleton robo legs that help her kick really fast and do all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of along the same idea of what I was hoping to see out of the character, just obviously not her legs torn off, but the same idea is there, the same results are there, so to speak. And
I mean, for me, the main pitch for the robot legs was a different origin story, and that was never going to happen. And so, like, while I'm glad to see her having moves that involve kicking because it is a little more interesting than trying to be girl Balrog, I still find her boring.
I think that's got to do with the outfits. Some of which
I don't know. I think it's her moves. I didn't see anything in her gameplay that was attractive to me that would be something I'd want to play.
I didn't think I'd have to be the Jacqui defender, but I'm gonna jump in here because I think there's something to love here. Look, to me, she was like a D ranking character in MKX. Militaristic female wasn't really doing it for me. And we have all the Special Forces characters seemingly back once again, so she's fighting against that to be unique. But to her credit this time is I really, really do like the Muay Thai stuff that she's got going on. She's got a lot of cool combos and kicks in her combos that look really good. I like the jumping knee, even if Brock already has that. But I like that leads into the crushing blow rather than the kick that follows. So that looks visually cool. I like that she can clinch with her opponent. I like the cancels on her combos. That itself is interesting. So she can cancel out without any visual indicator, by the way. She just kind of cancels out and she doesn't have to use any bar for it. So she can really mess with you. She can potentially fake people out and make them, do a breakout or whatever. And then waste that, and then she's ready there to kick their ass some more, so she can cancel out of that and punish. And I really like the shield thing is the only thing that I wish I saw more of. If anything, I really like that reflector shield. I wish that was used more in her specials. I could think of all sorts of cool, fun ways that you could do weird things like maybe create a platform in the air that she can jump on.
Yeah, I'm not entirely clear on the usability of the force field. That's why I'm like, because it kind of, all I saw was her use it in her, like, Fatal Blow and Fatality, and she has, like, one move where it looks like she automatically sets it underneath you, so
Yeah.
you get bounced
I
into
think
the
that's
air
a
by it.
throw,
I never saw her actually just put a wall out there, and then there's a wall. Like,
right. No, I know.
fucking
That's what I'm saying. I wish I saw more of that. So that's really my remaining gripe of her is I wish I saw more of the shield stuff because I think that above anything could have really set her apart because no other character's doing that in Mortal Kombat. So I would have liked that. Space denial would have been great. Like you mentioned, throw the shield behind them so then they have to jump over it to get around it, or maybe they can't even jump over it, so it's temporary. It's like a temporary corner that she creates, and then she can come in there and box your face off or kick your face off. I like that idea. So I wish there was more exploratory stuff using that. But overall, I thought it was an improvement still. And, credit where it's due is it's still better than what she was doing in MKX. So I like that. I like the kicks. I like like I said, the way she fights. It almost has a little bit of that. It's almost like a hair of capoeira. I know that's not what it is, but she gets down to the ground and starts doing some low kicks and some sweeps and some cool little somewhat breakdancey stuff going on. So I like the fluid in the motions that she's doing with her kicks and her combos. So I think visually she's much more interesting. What I didn't like were the sector missiles. I didn't like that. I thought that was like we don't really need to go there with her.
well, yeah, that's sort of my main problem with her is that all of her projectiles just remind me of Sector and Cyrax.
Yeah, I wasn't digging the
Like
plasma
she's
stuff.
got
I'm sorry, dude.
basically time bombs, and she's got a missile.
Did she have bombs? I know she had stuff that she threw on the ground that like was an area of effect, or if it hit them while it was going down, it like messed with them.
They hit the ground and then they go off.
Okay, so they're a little
Whereas,
different.
like they're not like normal arcing projectiles like Johnny and Stryker have, where they hit you.
They do both, actually. Like, she has the arcing ones like Johnny's, and if it hits the opponent, it, like, sets them, like, that little glowing, fiery effect on them. Or if it hits the ground, then it creates a trap of sorts. So I guess they serve both
like,
purpose.
Kano has a Molotov cocktail.
Right.
Sonya has that armbar. She now has Jax's dash punch.
Right.
And Sector's missile.
She's got Cheetah's leap.
What?
They
What
did.
of her moves is hers?
They tried
Which ones?
so hard to sell this character because let's face it, she was by far and away the least popular character. To the degree that this particular,
You know what, I was watching the chat
yeah,
during the stream. She is still the least popular character. Nothing has fixed.
Some people turned
they
around
called
on her,
this-
but not everyone.
they called this thing the Kotal Kahn reveal trailer, and it is really plainly obvious that at the last second someone went, people aren't going to tune in for a Jacqui trailer. Let's just say it's a Kotal trailer. Because, he's still getting murdered at the end of it. This was totally
That trailer doesn't contain Kotal's fatal blow or fatality at all.
Yeah.
It only does
This-
hers.
Yeah, it was clearly more of a Jacqui one, for sure.
Ed says it was a mistake. No, it was an intentional switch. Sorry, Ed.
I could buy
But,
into that theory.
But, like, there's definitely a lot more to do with her, but I agree that she should have had more to do with those energy walls, the Aegis reflectors, to the extent where, like, maybe she could even control the size of, like, the playing field, Like,
Right.
what's his name there? That huge golem does in Killer Instinct.
Right, like I said, create a temporary corner. Like, she could
Aghanos.
lock off half
Yeah.
the stage.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Aghanos.
Um,
So, like, they did good giving her a lot to work with. It's just that they gave her
I do-
everything. And, like, I like exactly one half of her new outfits. I like her vest, but I don't particularly care for the exosuit. Though Sam, I didn't care for the exosuit.
Yeah, that was
half.
strange.
Yeah,
They
no,
kept typing up her other outfits because I know 16-bit and one of the other dudes was saying that they're like one of their most favorite in the entire game. And when all I saw was a jacket just added on, I was like, "Oh, that's a little." I mean, it didn't look bad. I preferred the jacket over
she
no
comes
jacket.
with this
but-
hair that makes her look like a teenager in the 80s, and I liked that.
Yeah, it was like Tina
hair-
Turner
the hair was
in
definitely-
Beyond Thunderdome.
I kind of want to really talk about the third one, the dress, the evening
Yeah,
gown.
that's...
But I kind of
like
also don't, because that feels like it's spoiler territory in some ways.
I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to speculate,
Yeah,
but it
speculating.
clearly looks similar to the way Kronika dresses.
Right.
Yeah. Gotta wonder about that. Hey, at least she's not wearing toe shoes.
I did like her.
Yeah, that's the only thing, like, I don't like from the waist down, I don't like either of her first two costumes.
I'll take toe shoes over those heels. That's my thoughts. But hey, I did like her fatal blow. I like that with the bullets bouncing off the shield and then her kicking them through the shield. I thought was really cool looking.
Yeah, that was cool, except how does she not get hit by her own bullets running at them?
How does Cabal summon buzzsaws?
Yeah, I mean, none of this makes sense.
Every
Temp,
time.
what are your thoughts? You've been silent.
I like the cancel a lot, and it's a cancel without penalty. It does not involve meter. That's incredibly interesting. But other than that, I'm just fairly neutral on Jacqui. I don't think she looks bad, but I think she's by far the least interesting character.
Agreed. I think she's an improvement over MKX. I'd give her a higher ranking this time. I'd say maybe like a C, somewhere around there. She's middle of the road. She's not bad.
She's like a
Not
B
great.
minus to me now, where like before she was like a C minus to a D plus.
But
You
go
know,
on, Tim.
I think it's an improvement, but we're not quite all the way there yet. I'll see what story mode does for her.
I think the biggest disappointment, but at least I felt something when I saw Kano. I didn't feel anything and she doesn't really have much of a personality outside of just being tough. That's her whole shtick.
I did feel something when we saw Jacqui that thank God she doesn't have cornrows, was what I felt.
Yeah, I
She
like
actually
the hair.
That's true.
attractive now.
I do like the hairstyle in this one. I like both hairstyles really that we saw. Oh, three actually. We saw three.
Yeah, we saw
versions.
3, and they're all decent.
I agree with that.
Like, if she joins Chronica, that might be the most interesting thing that ever happened.
Yeah,
to her.
I mean, we got to give her
Yeah, 'cause
story mode.
it'll split her and Cassie up, and that's what she needs the most.
Exactly.
Is to have her own fucking story.
Yeah, I think if they go that route, I think
Seriously.
she could really step out on her own and be interesting. So I look forward to that. We could see that both ways. We could see Cassie and Sonya versus Jax and Jacqui. So I think that could be some interesting dynamic there on what drives them apart and why they choose the side that they choose, etc. If that is where we go down. But any other thoughts, Temp, on the stress test or anything like that?
Oh, definitely. The biggest thing about a footsie game, in any sort of like neutral strategy is how do I set up my offense? And there's no dashing down forward in this game. That was what you did in MK9. And there's no run-in normal or run-in mix-up or normal down forward that was in MKX. So it's like, what do you do? And what I love about this game is your fastest mid-range attack is now your primary footsie tool. That's your new dash in down 4.
Right.
And that made the game very fun to me because not only is it very powerful, but you also don't have to do it. You're mixing because that's the whole idea of footsies. It's not that you will be offensive, it's that you could be offensive. But you could also be waiting. That's where I think the reward of footsies comes from. So that made the game just amazing to me. I really do like the game, but I think we can make it a little better. I would make flawless block 2 frames instead of 3, which is a worry I've had since day one. Because when they said it was a 3-frame window, I'm like, I do 3-frame links in Street Fighter V every single round I play. It's not hard. That is literally like a 30-minute training at best.
Yeah,
at
we
least if you've been
started
doing that for a while.
down 4 and Django and I started hitting those flawless blocks when we were practicing. We weren't doing it like in combos yet, but we were doing just like, here, go ahead and just start hitting me with them and I'll see if I can do it. And it got to a point where you could start to see those gaps. You could see Scorpion's 2-1-2, and before he does the flame punch, you could pretty easily flawless block that last hit and then open him up for a full combo because of the launcher that you can do. And that's where Sonic Fox was kind of chiming in on that they started to get a little too easy. So I don't think that's just him either. If we can start to get that figured out, then he's going to basically master that every single time, and that could be very, very dangerous.
And even 2 frames, I don't know why you have to get a combo after it. I thought I was just taking my turn back. I never realized you could do a wake-up launcher out of a flawless block. I did not know that until I played the beta. So I think that's a little ridiculous. That's just going to straight up invalidate certain strings in the game. Probably half the strings in the game.
Yeah, because of the gaps and all that.
There's also, I haven't heard the most recent random select, but I agree with probably everything you guys said about the breakaway mechanic. It's stupid.
Yeah, that needs some looked at.
Yeah.
You either
I
need
just
to
think
pay
it needs to
more
be
for
gone.
it, or there's something about it that needs change, because you shouldn't be able to just pop out of somebody's combo and then completely start comboing them for free. Like, that's basically what was happening in the stress test. I could easily just pop out of somebody's combo. I'll get up and just start punishing them before because they're still doing their combo. So
And I don't give up any of my actual resources to do it. I'm giving up defensive meter, which all I really give up is a wake up, or I may be giving up maybe a cancel if I'm using a different character. But other than that, it's way too inexpensive. And I mean, if it were up to me, that shit would just all be gone. You play video games, and that's the end of it.
It does take longer to get those bars back when you use it for breakaway. I think it takes 20 seconds. Like, it's 10 seconds per bar when you use them for any other reason, like a interactable or a wake up. Whereas for a breakaway, it's 20 seconds per bar. So basically 40 seconds to get both bars back up in total. And so it's not like it's something
though, because
no, I mean that's a good thing. I'm just saying it's not something that you get several times in a round. It's usually once in a round you get that option, maybe twice if it goes really long.
Maybe. I don't know. Some people are advising maybe doing a counter breaker mechanic like Killer Instinct, and I don't like that at all. To me, that is trying to fix a shitty guessing game by stacking on top another shitty guessing game. So I don't like that one bit.
I got the answer for that. Reversal edge.
Oh.
Stop it. Get out of here.
I like the cut of your jib.
No.
So
we're looking at his jib, you damn weirdo.
You can look at it.
Smithers. Yeah, so I don't know. I like the game a lot. Those are two things I think could use some work. I'm okay with the safe the safe fatal blow. I think a bigger problem is that it comes back. I'd rather not have that mind game and have that shit sneak up on me. I would just say it's safe, but you only get one opportunity once per round, and once it's gone, of course, it's gone. So I don't really have strong feelings on that. I could live either way, but that is by no means top priority.
Sure. I didn't get bothered by that too much. I thought I liked the mind game of it, and generally you didn't get a second shot at it unless it really kind of that game stalled out for a bit or somebody was, I don't know, neither of you were doing anything, but generally it was one shot per round for me anyways.
I think that'll evolve a lot once we get more characters, because I think some characters are going to be built on stalling out the round. I mean, Geras, let's see what, I mean, he's probably going to be very good at creating those opportunities, but I think what my second biggest worry is outside of flawless block and maybe outside of the dashes is jab anti-airs are not super great. They're about as good as they are in MKX, to be honest with you. And because you don't get as much damage in this game for your conversions, I don't know. It's like, even if I'm good at it, I'm like, is it really worth the risk? Like, I'm better off just blocking and taking my turn back. I feel like that's a better opportunity cost to me.
Well, you played Scarlet. I played Scorpion. I wasn't doing jab anti-airs, but I was doing 3 or 4 anti-airs. So using either 3 or 4 when somebody would jump in. And I got that several times on people jumping in on me. And I'd kick them, throw the spear, amplify the spear, then I have a combo. So I don't think it's...
That's a good point.
I think they're there. I think they're there. It may not be with a jab, but it's going to be with something that you have probably in your arsenal. And it's also character dependent.
It's worth noting that, yeah, exactly. Everything I say about the beta is under the lens of Scarlet. I did not play any other characters, so if there was a problem, it's a problem I experienced with Scarlet. We'll see how much that changes, but yeah, I feel like the anti-air game risk-reward has changed a little too much, but we'll see how that goes as more characters go up.
Oh yeah, one thing we forgot real quick with Jacqui that was interesting is she has a grab throw. She's got a throw anti. Basically, if she techs a throw, she can do her own throw. That's kind of tight.
Yeah, and it's still a guessing game because you have to guess the tech right. And then I believe they could break her counter throw. I don't know. It's punch or kick, I think.
I'm not sure. But yeah, anyways, continue on with the stress test thoughts.
Well, I think the biggest worry is how do turns... God, there's so many biggest worries coming from MKX. But one thing I always complained about in MKX is if I do anything up close, my turn is over. And that's still true to an extent. If you do it down 1 up close and they block it, your turn's over. But you know what? That's the difference. You don't have to do your offense up close anymore. You're not relying on a down 1 or half your stamina bar to get in. You can play a mid-range game now.
Yeah,
that's what makes this game so good.
Just about every character
with spacing.
Yeah, at least every character in the stress test, but just about every character we've seen has pretty much mid-range options. In the footsie area, they can pretty much do anything. So there's a lot of... You can go outside jump distance or, like I said, about mid-range with so many normals to get in on that. I think it's really, really interesting like that.
I think I really honestly have nothing but good things to say for the most part, but it doesn't help anybody to say just good things, so I'll keep saying the bad things. I really don't like how they kind of locked the plus frames behind the gaps. If you want your plus frames, you gotta make sure you don't flawless block this gap. If you get past the gap, you get your plus frames. But you gotta get past this gap. And I'm like, okay, then we gotta do something about flawless block then. Because I want to keep my plus frames. That was a brother problem with MKX. The plus frames were just fucking random, I felt like. And there's so few of them to begin with. So again, it's so hard to keep your turn in that game, but now there are a plentitude of plus frames. But I gotta get through this shitty gap first. And I don't know how long that's gonna work. We'll see. But overall, though, I absolutely love the game. It's such an improvement. And the game looks beautiful. I had a blast playing Scarlet. She looks so good in the game.
Yeah, we got some great matches in there. Like, we had sets with just about everybody. It's crazy how many people... Like, I played with about 7 or 8 different people, and I thought that was a lot of fun. Randy mentioned that down twos were great anti-air, so uppercuts were pretty good, so that's always another option. Not going to lead to a full punish, but I had great success.
Thing too. Scarlet's uppercut was kind of meh, but Baraka's was great, though, and Scorpion seemed okay, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, so there's that. But yeah, I agree that the game feels really, really good. I hope they don't change it too much. Some fine-tuning, obviously, is welcome, but man, that stress test felt really, really good. So I just don't want them to change it too much to where we're playing something very close to MK9 or MKX even, obviously, even more so in that case. I want it to feel fresh and new because I want this to feel like an experience that's its own new experience. I don't want them to cave to this idea that it needs to be... Because I feel like the FGC or just the competitive people in general that really, dove deep into the games before and played, thousands of hours, they're more apt to want to play what they're familiar with and what they're, happy with and they enjoyed in the past. And we're all guilty of that in some degrees as well in just certain aspects. But I just don't want it to lead to where it's like, oh, I want more of this feeling like I know and love. I'd rather reestablish or establish a new fun feeling, a new fun meta and mechanic that we can't currently play and we don't have. So I really like how MK11's turning out in that regard.
Agreed. New game, new rules.
And it's not just about functionality either. I mean, because I see people in the chat talking about anti-airs. I mean, yes, the uppercut is sufficient, but the reason why I want the conversion is because I want that reward. That reward feels good. Successful defense is great, but
I agree.
Doesn't make the game interesting. At least not by itself. I really want... I want my training to pay off. I want to know that if they jump in, I get more reward because I worked harder in the lab. That's what I want.
Sure, no, I understand. I was, like I said, when I did that Scorpion anti-air into Spear, I did that without even practicing. I just did it on a whim. Like, hey, I wonder if I try this on somebody jumping in on me. I think I first pulled it off on Rain Reptile, and I was like, hey, that was pretty badass, and I felt pretty damn good about it, because I'm not usually the anti-air type of dude, at least not leading into a full combo like that, so it was incredibly rewarding, and then I spent several other matches trying to repeat it, and waiting for jumping, so I agree, but not every character should have that capability either, so if you're only familiar with Scarlet, and she doesn't have that option, hey, she's got other good options, so maybe that's just not her thing.
All right, Pet's anti-air may just be to walk backwards, to be honest with you. That might be her character type. You may just want to walk backwards and punish, but we'll see.
But any other thoughts before we wrap up the episode? We will talk about one last thing before we do it, but any other thoughts on the stress test?
I don't know how you guys played for more than 30 matches, which is what I was pretty much... Yeah.
Like, I was busy most of the week, but when I wasn't busy, I could have gotten a stress test code, and I chose not to just because I didn't want to get sick of Scorpion, Baraka, and Scarlet.
I love that it was limited in characters, because then you learn the matchups and you have time to like really learn those characters rather than like, oh, I have 28 characters to play, then I'm not going to try most of them. That's just me, though.
I'll be honest, watching Scorpion versus Scorpion matches other people were playing made me less want to play Scorpion when the game launched.
Yeah, see, that's it. Like, I played about 30 matches, and I never played a single person who was not Scorpion.
I can't do
no
the
one wants to
same
take that
guy
chance.
Over and over, especially because most of them were mirror matches. People were playing Scorpion versus Scorpion, because there were only 3 people to pick.
I picked Baraka for like 3 matches, and the first one literally did not know what to do. He was we had a rematch. I selected the character, and he's like, "Okay, Scorpion," and I'm like, "Baraka." and he'd been very offensive the previous round, like countering the teleport punches and shit, and like waiting for the spear and stuff. It's like he did not know what to do against Baraka. That was it. He'd been playing Scorpions like all day. No one wanted to be Baraka or Scarlet.
I mean, Baraka and
drive me nuts.
Baraka and
Other than
Scarlet
Scorpions.
were pretty. I mean, I think they're both better than Scorpions so far, but that could be why people
like. Why is Sub-Zero not a part of this? Because at least you would get Sub-Zero and Scorpion everywhere, because everyone would be comfortable just jumping in on either of those guys. But where's Sub? He's not part of the stress test. He's not going to be part of the beta coming up.
I'm
know
sure
the
it's
roster
for
for
a
that.
reason.
We're going to get Jade and Cabal. I think Ed just hates Sub-Zero.
I really think that for the real beta, they should have replaced Baraka and Scarlet with 2 other characters so that people wouldn't get sick of the same ones.
I'm fine.
Scorpion.
I mean, we're so close. I don't even care anymore. But I was of the opinion that I wanted as little characters put into these things as possible, because I like the more limited, try these specific characters in this very small vacuum and play those, and then when the game comes out, you're more likely to play other characters anyway, so I kind of like being forced to try these specific characters, but variety is nice too. But we're so close to the game, it won't even matter. Temp, you're saying?
There's some... I mean, because people were talking about character strengths a lot, and I wouldn't change much. And well, let me start with the changes. I would add more recovery on Scarlet's back 4. I think having a mid-range low that quick is very strong. I'm even kind of worried about Cassie's low gunshot to an extent. I think that's way too fast. It's not broken, but it's just, I don't think that it's going to make people hate the game, honestly. It doesn't need to be that good. Scarlet's fine without it. I think I would keep the move, add a lot more recovery, and with an improved dash, I think people should get a full punish on that. Because right now, it's a great move with very little consequence. Other than that, Scarlet, I think, was fine. I don't think she was overbearing. Even if she needs that move, I think it's a dumb move. I don't think that move is good game design. The other thing I would change about Scarlet is she shouldn't get so much health back on her bread and butters. I think that's a little ridiculous. But other than that, I think the character's fine.
Yeah, Baraka, probably all he really needs is... I would like to see more stuff with the flag, like to make it actually worth picking over some of his other stuff. Gutted seemed to be the go-to that just is insanely good. So I'm worried a little bit about certain, especially if they lock us in with variations of like 3 variations or whatever it is. I'm worried about certain ones just being head and shoulders way beyond better than the other variations. Like as of now, I don't see anybody choosing flag variation, so to speak. If that's its own variation, I don't see people picking it because it's just not very good compared to what you could have.
Are the ones the game comes with going to be editable?
We don't... Well, in a non-competitive thing, yes, it's always going to be custom, but we're not sure yet what the hell...
Because, I mean, I don't want to be told, okay, the game can only fit 6 slots, and the first 3 are the ones for tournaments, so you're not allowed to swap anything in them.
Yeah, we haven't been told about how any of that's going to work, so we still don't know. They said they're going to talk to us, and they're going to let us know, but just not on that combat cast. So that's something we're all waiting for, is still what the hell the plan is there. But I said this on the random select, I believe. If for them to balance out the variations as is, because some of those moves just are never going to get picked because they just really don't, they're not very useful, they're not very viable. They're going to really need to load up one variation with like all the mediocre stuff, so that way it's like, here you have these 6 specials that are mediocre to compete with this one variation that has just like Misery Blade, and that is it. And that's just because Misery Blade's obviously the go-to as Scorpion. So we're going to have to see some creativity there on the variations that they create as the standard ones beyond the custom ones, just to make them equal.
What happened? It's like I went to sleep and everyone was in love with Baraka's flag variation, and now it's garbage.
I guess.
It's like
I didn't
the
play
opinion
much
changed
of it,
overnight.
But
I mean, not to talk shit, but my flag variation construct was a lot better in my opinion, but they didn't use that.
It still has that armored attack, right?
I think so. Maybe it's not as good as we thought. I don't know.
Just hearing people shit on it now, so I was curious.
I mean, maybe those people are wrong.
Okay.
All right,
I would hope so, because it's a really cool concept and I want to see it come back.
wrapping this up, so we have, and obviously we'll have more thoughts once we get our hands on the beta. Then we can talk about these characters again, along with Cabal and Jade, and so on and so forth. So that's coming next week. So we'll have that by next week's episode. We'll have some thoughts already on the beta. With that said, we have the announcements tomorrow coming, C2E2. So we'll be doing a follow-up episode to that. Any predictions? I've said Noob and Spawn seem most likely. I think most people seem to be in agreement with that.
It's probably going to be Noob and Spawn.
Because they've guaranteed one new character reveal and one DLC, like the first DLC character will be announced as well. And most people are thinking because it's C2E2, which is a comic convention, it makes sense to do a big comic character to make, like, play to your audience, basically. And yeah, Spawn has been rumored, so...
I mean, Spawn has been rumored for 15 years. Todd McFarlane isn't right about anything. It's probably the Joker.
Oh, God, please don't even start with that shit.
I'm just saying, it's a more believable rumor.
I'm ready for Spawn. I'm ready for Terminator. I'm going to say ready. I don't mean in the good Reggie feel I mean my body is ready, as in I'm looking forward to it. I am prepared for this to happen. I am not prepared for Joker to happen.
Please
Joker
stop.
feels
Look,
bad.
I don't want the Joker. I'm just saying, Todd McFarlane is a liar. Spawn isn't happening.
All right.
I mean, McFarlane Toys have the license now, so...
Yeah, McFarlane has a lot of things. It doesn't mean we're ever getting Spawn.
Temp, your
we'll
prediction?
see tomorrow, dude.
Every game, there's like, McFarlane has the rights to this, or McFarlane said that.
I feel like they're just going to do it to shut those people up.
I wish they would at this point.
Temp?
I'm going to say Rain. Oh, for the DLC character?
Just both. Both.
Rain and... I don't know. Terminator?
All right. So, those are our predictions. Sounds like I'm Noob Spawn, Shad's Noob Spawn, Razor's Noob Joker, and Temp says Rain and Terminator. All right, well that's our predictions, and we're supposed to get some story stuff, like another story trailer. We don't know how in depth that's gonna go, or if maybe it's like the first chapter, and they're gonna do some behind the scenes stuff and just other stuff in general, some goodies. So hopefully we get some modes and stuff revealed. But so we got some more content coming. So on that note, though, thanks everybody for tuning in. And you will get another episode very soon to follow up all that information. So we will see you guys later. And take care.
Catch you guys tomorrow.
Take care, everybody.
Later, nerds.
You will never win.